Well, good morning. We've made it. Here it is. It's Friday morning. We're on the brink of another weekend. Today is December the 17th. Counting the days down, aren't we? But anyway, this morning I want to bring a devotional entitled "A Perfect Example." In John chapter 13, the first part of this chapter is about, Jesus when he washed the disciples' feet. Very meaningful time in the life of the disciples, especially right before the Lord goes to the cross. But I want you to listen to verses 14 and 15. Again, John 13. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. We really don't hear, very much about, washing one another's feet these days. It's just not something that we hear about, I'd say probably with the advancement in footwear and all the convenient bathing facilities of our day. Not to mention, the various modes of transportation. There's hardly the need for it. But by necessity, the situation was very different in Jesus' day. And this dirty duty of washing feet, is most often restored reserved for for the lowly house servant, those that were very low on the totem pole, down toward the bottom. And so I think it's no wonder that the disciples, they were somewhat confused, when Jesus, he removes his outer robe and before the Passover meal, and he wraps a towel around his waist. And then he began to work his way around the room, washing each of the disciples' feet. He even washed Judas' feet. Doing the work of a slave was not really, the assignment that these disciples, had in mind for themselves. I would even venture to say that doing the work of a slave is also very seldom what we have on our minds. In the disciples' case, they'd seen, great miracles, many things at this point, in Jesus' ministry. They'd seen some great things. But you see, Jesus, he chose foot washing as a perfect object lesson, to remind believers not only then, but he's reminding us, today, that we're not to be seeking out the places of honor, but rather places of service. After washing his disciples' feet, Jesus, he called them and he's calling us today to serve our church. We're to serve our families. We're to serve our friends. We're to serve our neighbors. And get this, we're to serve even our enemies. Those that we may not agree with, on many things. We who follow Christ must remember that, that we are never greater than our master who carried the basin. Also, as Jesus told his disciples, and this is in verse 17 of that same passage, he said, if you know these things, blessed are you if you do them. I would pray, that here at Christmas time, here in this season that, of celebrating Jesus' birth, I pray that we would think about how God wants us to serve, each other, serve those that are in need. There are many people, we've talked about it throughout this week and the last several days about how, this time of year can bring on depression for a lot of people, can bring on loneliness. Think of somebody that you can serve, that you can hopefully maybe lift up and serve them in some way, just by doing something simple for them, would mean so much. And it might lift them out of that, that cloud that they may be living in right now. And so I pray that we would do that. Remember, Angie and I, we love you guys, and we're praying for you. And this is, of course, Friday. Weekend is upon us, and if you're not worshiping somewhere, we'd love to you to come to Hydro First Baptist Church on Sunday morning. And if not, you can join us online. But anyway, go worship somewhere. Anyway, that's the key. Anyway, we'll see you soon, and God bless you.